Okay, everyone, we are going to take a look at the first of our EX files. The first one can be found in either character's Scenario A, right at the beginning of the game, in Kendo's shop, on his front desk. File number 4 of 16, Robert's Note. How could this have happened, Barry? The town's been overrun by zombies and has literally become a nightmare on Earth. As you know, my concern for this town is as great as your own. I have waited for your arrival on the assumption you were still in the area, but the threat of my shop being overwhelmed by zombies has become too great. I've already distributed the majority of weapons and ammo to the town's survivors, including the raging bull you special ordered. I hope you understand, given the circumstances. At any rate, I have no intention of pointlessly sacrificing my life and will be retreating to Stone Villa. If you get this message, meet me there. We'll go fishing. Robert Kendo. This is an interesting one, as Robert Kendo is the man I'm talking to in the shop, the one who held a gun at me at the very beginning. He appears to know Barry. I'm assuming that's Barry Burton. He said he's giving him a raging bull. I assume it's some kind of gun, so Barry sounds like the kind of guy. I also like that he kind of explains why there's ammo missing from this store and found throughout the town, because he put it there, kind of, sort of. That's kind of cool, actually. I like that. The Roberts note has been filed. Now, one more thing about the EX note. Take a look at this. For our files section, it actually has its own section, the EX file section, because it doesn't go with any of the dungeon notes in the respective areas of the game. It has its own. Isn't that just the coolest? More EX files later on. Okay, everyone, it's time we took a look at another EX file. Of course, this is Chris's diary. But on the other side, Jill's note at Jill's desk. This can also be found in either character's Scenario A. It all began as an ordinary day in September. An ordinary day in Raccoon City. A city controlled by Umbrella. No one dared to oppose them. That, and a lack of strength, would ultimately lead to their destruction. I suppose they had to suffer the consequences of their actions, but there would be no forgiveness. If only they had had the courage to fight. But it's true that once the wheels of justice began to turn, nothing could stop them. Nothing. Little tense shift there, huh? Began, can, shouldn't be nothing could stop them. It was Raccoon City's last chance, and my last chance. My last escape. You know, here's a little bit of trivia. This is actually Jill's opening monologue in Resident Evil 3. And another little bit of trivia. Resident Evil 3 is called Nemesis in the States, but the Japanese title is Biohazard 3, The Last Escape. Pretty nice touch. The Jill's note has been filed. More EX files to come. Okay, everyone, it's time for our next EX file. This can be found in the, well, file room inside the police station, and it is also available in either character's Scenario A. That is actually the patrol report. I don't want that one. That's a regular note. It's also something I don't want. There it is. Jill's report. July 24th, 1998. Raccoon Forest. The following documents were obtained at a sanitarium owned by Umbrella Corporation. Umbrella Bioorganic Weapon Publicity Material. Dev Code MA39 Cerberus, MA121 Hunter, FI3 Neptune, TO02 Tyrant. That's interesting, because this was the info that was on the projector screen when we were inside Umbrella Labs. Maybe Jill was able to acquire something like that. In addition to the above, it is believed that several other BOW were created by means of accidental infection. During the course of the tests, it was discovered that the contagion is not limited to human beings and may pose a hazardous risk to plant and animal life forms. Effective means of controlling this contagion have yet to be found. Raccoon City Police Department Stars Alpha Team, Jill Valentine. I do like that both Chris and Jill are really on the case about this. Super cool. Onward and upward. Alright everyone, it's time for another EX file. This one, however, is found specifically in Claire's A scenario. We are on the library, second floor balcony. This is on one of the bookshelves by the part where the floor drops through. This is Raccoon City pamphlet. City Guide number 12, a brief look. Hello and welcome to Raccoon City. As you will notice, our city is a clean and private town dedicated to families. Raccoon City has partnered with our friends at Umbrella Inc. in order to generate unprecedented growth and stability. Umbrella Incorporated is a highly regarded and well-funded corporation, should be well-funded, but okay, that cares about its employees. They have helped to create many public facilities to make this city a safer place for everyone. As we look to the future, I will continue to support Umbrella Incorporated in terms of new business developments. Please enjoy your stay in my lovely city. Thank you. Michael Warren, Raccoon City Mayor. There is apparently a file in Resident Evil 3 that's kind of like this. So once again, this is a sort of way to connect to the overarching Resident Evil universe. That was fun, but the search continues. Time to find more EX files. Alright everyone, time for our next EX file, like you do. This EX node is found in Claire's A scenario specifically. We are currently in the police station sort of office. This is the place that has the safe that contains either acid rounds for Claire or shotgun shells for Leon, plus the police station map. There are a bunch of zombies in here, including this one playing possum. Our objective is to find the EX file hiding around here. There we go. Not that easy to see, you know? David's letter. My sanity is at its end. I still can't believe this is happening. We lost another man yesterday. Meyer, one of our better marksmen. He saw me panic once we were overrun by the zombies, but he came back to save me. But when the time came to return the debt, I ran. I could still hear him calling out my name. I can still hear the screams coming from behind, the sound of his flesh being stripped from its bones. I was afraid, terrified. It's the 27th. The fight to stay alive continues. I took out several zombies who managed to break through the barricades. Now I'm cutting through the chill with whiskey, unloading my Mossberg as anything undead. That shotgun's become a close friend of mine. I've blasted many a zombie into fertilizer with it. We've lost 13 men as of yesterday. In 3 hours, we'll bicker over trivial things in the meeting room. It's a total waste of time. When I finish this bottle, my old friend Mossberg will be turning one last body into fertilizer. Peace at last. I can hardly wait. Wow, that's miserable. This is actually another letter that can be found in Resident Evil 3. Who is David? I guess maybe we might have a clue in Resident Evil 3? Or possibly even the person who wrote the operation report in this game. You know, because if it's the same David, then there's a note that lists him as lost when zombies overran the place, so he may or may not have had time to kill himself. That sucks. Well, it's one more EX note down. Time to find another. Alright, we are now on the hunt for another EX file. This is the interrogation room that is unlocked with a diamond key, and it contains either an animal tile for Claire or a chest plug for Leon, and for both, a power cord for closing one of the metal shutters in the game. We do not want this interrogation room. We want the one that starts unlocked. This EX file is available for either character's Scenario A. I'm not sure if this is the right note, but let's take a look. No, we're good. Journalist's note. As I write this, my hands shake with both anger and fear. The civilians of the town have been blockaded by the military, and though I sigh for the survivors of the town, I still feel that it's the best decision. They cannot take the chance of the disease spreading any further. I am going to make it my top priority to discover what has caused this incredibly dangerous incident. So far, I have only found out that the disease is not airborne. Yeah, this doesn't say too terribly much, but once again, there's a file in Resident Evil 3 that goes into more detail than this. That's it for that particular EX file. Moving on. Well, we're looking for another EX file toward the end of the game. This is one of the 2 rooms in the Umbrella Laboratory that requires the red keycard to open, in the blue section, where you can get the G-Virus vaccine if you're on Claire's A mission. There's a little something there. Maybe I can't read it? Doesn't that just look like something? There it is. The Umbrella Memo. It looks like this can be achieved via either character's A scenario. Dear Dr. Birkin, it has come to my attention that we are currently experiencing a shortage of APL-14. To counteract this problem, I'm asking you and several other labs to donate 5 cases of APL-14 to our facility immediately. For your information, we have discovered that our base in the South Pole is primarily responsible for this shortage. We are currently taking steps to prevent this from happening in the future, and don't worry, the Ashford's reputation is now irreparably tarnished. Your quick response is greatly appreciated. Regards, Joel Ullman, Vice President, USA Branch, September 15th. This one is rather interesting because it mentions the South Pole base and the Ashfords. This is a reference to Resident Evil Code Veronica. More on that later. Of course, right now, the place is going to self-destruct. I better hurry out of here. And then we have more EX files to acquire. Okay, everyone, it's time for yet another EX file. This time we are on the B scenario. The EX file is actually found on either character scenario during the very first, on the very first screen of the game. Right when you start, you're by that flaming truck wreckage, you could find this, go away, you could find this hot dog stand. Right here. Mercenary's log. September 1st. Following 6 months of intensive training, my body's edge had returned. I was a good soldier, but they ordered my execution with no reason given. I was tortured and forced to give a false confession. But on the morning of my execution, a miracle happened. The company had helped me out, giving me a second lease on life. September 15th. I ended my vacation short, and ended it short? I guess you could say that. I would have said cut. And returned to the HQ office. It looks like my UBCS unit's been called into action. Umbrella maintains its own paramilitary unit to counter corporate terrorism and VIP abduction. In addition, they have nightmen who specialize in handling problems caused by illegal products. I'm currently a member of the latter. September 28th. Dawn's here, but we're still slogging through this nightmare. There are no provisions of any kind here. The undead walk the streets, feeding upon the flesh of the living. Given the choice again, I would rather have been executed. Death Row was a heavenly asylum compared to this place. I've chosen to pull the trigger myself in the hope that my dead body won't come back to life. Ugh. Well, this is another one of those files that's actually directly from Resident Evil 3. The UCBS, you'll find, is going to be a relevant force in that game. I guess we'll see where that goes. Onward, and for more EX files. And our EX file search continues. This one is actually in plain sight, in the little tunnel underneath the police station's entrance, where you can fight Brad. This is available in either character scenario B, but because it's scenario B, that means you have to work your way to the police station and go out the front door, so you may not naturally encounter it, unless you happen to be looking for Brad, or just really explore happy. Oh, Brad's own note. No, It's that monster in the black suit again. Why does that thing keep chasing me? What did I do? This must be someone's sick idea of a joke. If I knew things were going to end up like this, I would have left the STARS team a long time ago. But whining won't help me now. I know I'm finished. Oh, in my hometown Delucia, I bet the flowers are in bloom. If only I could see them once more before I die. Brad Vickers. Well, he died alright. What is the thing in the black suit that was chasing him? Well, that's a reference to Resident Evil 3. Believe it or not, it actually justifies his presence in Resident Evil 2 as a zombie. He may have been a secret zombie fight, almost an Easter egg, but him being a zombie at this time kind of is canon. This note helps explain why, but we'll personally see why in a later game. Well, alright, in Resident Evil 3. A lot of Resident Evil 3 references, and Code Veronica doesn't take place around here, so I guess it's not too much of a spoiler to say that it's in the game that takes place in the same location as Resident Evil 2. The search continues. More EX files. Well, the EX file hunt continues. We are currently in the sewers below the Raccoon City Police Department, and we are at the area where you would get the Wolf Medal. However, on top of that, check that out. This file is found in either character scenario B. Operation Instructions. Orders for Special Agent Hunk are as follows. Penetrate Umbrella Research Facility located outside of Raccoon City. Recover G-Virus sample from Dr. William Birkin. You are authorized to use any means necessary to secure this sample. Upon recovery, sample is to be delivered to Loire Village. Failure on this mission is not an option. French Division. R&D Facility Head Manager, Christine Henry. Op instructions. This one is a bit of a weird case. There's some strange stuff going on. At the time, Resident Evil 2 or possibly 3 was the latest game out there, and no one had heard of Christine Henry. So there was a lot of speculation. Is this going to be a teaser for a sequel, perhaps? What could this possibly mean? But here's what just about nobody knows. She's not in any of the games outside of the mention on this note. She is an antagonist from a Biohazard audio drama that is Japan only. So I guess you get some sort of sound CD and just listen to it all play out, just voice work. The audio drama is called The Female Spy Ada Lives, and it stars Ada. Christine Henry is the main antagonist. What actually happens in that story, I do not know, but there's your explanation. Now to find more EX files. It's time to grab ourselves another EX file. This one can be found in either character's B scenario. This is the area where you need to grab the control key for the elevator shaft, because your character in scenario A already took the elevator down. Here's the key that I need, but then there's this open cabinet. Want ad. New positions available. Umbrella Incorporated, Raccoon Branch, full-time, includes benefits. Who are we? As the #1 pharmaceutical corporation in the world, we are constantly reaching for new ways to expand and grow. What we're looking for? We're looking for healthy, dedicated, and single individuals of any race, religion, or sex. Single, wow. Why? 'Cause the death rate is high? But then you have both Birkins, so I don't freaking know. Positions available. Sales, service, production, cold-blooded killer mercenary, etc. Requirements. No experience needed, but you must have a clean bill of health. No experience needed. Man, these guys are really just picking up anybody. Overseas positions are also available. Please note this on your application. My god, that is kinda shady. Sales. No experience. Don't worry about it. We'll inject you with some chemicals or something. It'll be fine. Whew! It's a little unsettling, but in the meantime, I gotta grab this control room key and get rid of Mr. X. After that, I'll search for more EX files. Well, it looks like we found the next EX file. This can be found in either character scenario B. I'll show you where momentarily. This is the Mother Virus Report. The Mother Virus was first discovered by Oswell E. Spencer, and it was him who founded Umbrella Inc. I think you would say it was he. As time passed, Spencer's research was succeeded to Dr. J. Marcus. However, Dr. Marcus abused his power and had to be fired. Following Dr. Marcus came Dr. William Birkin. Dr. Birkin's experiments delivered many outstanding results, including the T-virus. It is presumed that he will be finishing work on the more powerful G-virus in the near future. Currently, research on the mother virus takes place at our laboratories all over the world. In the near future, we may hope to discover many new viruses. As you can see, we are in the main laboratory of Umbrella Labs. I picked it up just from this little counter here. This is the area where you can get the key card if you're Claire. Well, excuse me, the red key card if it's scenario A, the power room key if it's scenario B, and this is where you synthesize the G-virus vaccine if you are on Claire A. Now, one thing I particularly like about that note is the mention of Dr. Marcus. That is a reference to freaking Resident Evil 0, which would not come out until the Nintendo GameCube. Although, to be fair, Resident Evil 0, I think, was originally in development for the Nintendo 64, but damn, that is some foreshadowing. Well, more AX files to gather. Well, isn't this a special location? We are in the super secret room that was locked with 2 fingerprint locks at the end of scenario B. This room had the submachine gun in it, if you had not picked it up. It also, well, instead would have submachine gun ammo, if you had picked it up. But what we're here for is this EX file. MA-121 Progress Report. As a result of the scheduled product improvement plans for the MA-120, production of the latest multi-purpose BOW MA-121 Hunter has been completed. Although the Hunter has demonstrated high performance exceeding expectations as a BOW, in the interest of producing improved products with higher levels of usability and enhanced power, Hunter R and additional enhanced BOWs are currently under development. There should be no shortage of practical applications for current products under development. William Birkin. Now this is quite interesting. Hunter 120, the M120, I don't know if we ever see, but the 121 is this bad boy right here. It is a genuine, bona fide Resident Evil 1 Hunter. However, there are 2 type M121s. There's Alpha, the guys we already know and love, and Beta, the ones that we will later see in Resident Evil 3. But the Hunter R-type, that is foreshadowing and a half. Those are in Resident Evil Outbreak 1 and 2 for the PlayStation 2. Man, this N64 port was ahead of its time. Well, at this point, we took care of all of the EX files I'm aware we can take care of in a single playthrough, which means that we only have 3 more to get. I will tackle those in Leon A, Claire B. And now we are at the very beginning of Leon's A campaign. We are on the bus before we even make it to the police station. Inside this bus, there is this briefcase. You can actually search it now. Dario's note. I can't help but wonder if anyone will read these words, but writing them will help me maintain my sanity, if nothing else. After I've become a meal for these undead monsters, will the GIs responsible for sealing off the town laugh upon discovering my corpse? So, is this how it's supposed to end? I don't want to die. I'm just not ready. My wife, daughter, mother, my entire family has been killed, but none of that matters anymore. Right now, my life is the only important thing. That's all that matters. I never would have pictured my end to be like this. I had so much left to do. Rather than becoming a salesman, I should have tried my hand at being a novelist. It's what I've always wanted, but my mother would only tell me you have a long way to go. Why did I ever listen to her? But this looks like the end for the great Dario Rosso, novelist extraordinaire, cut down before his prime. Ugh. Rather, grim ending to be had with that one. For reference, Dario can be found toward the beginning of Resident Evil 3, so that's that context. Guess what? We only have 2 notes to go. Well, here we are in Claire's B scenario, inside the STARS office, checking for yet another EX file. We found Chris's diary in the main story, we found Jill's report on her desk in a different scenario, and now... Rebecca's report. On July 23rd, an MP vehicle was found inside the Arclay Mountains. Corpses of MP members and an unidentified body were found near the vehicle. According to the information from military authorities, the unidentified body was identified as former Ensign Billy Cohen, who was sentenced to the death penalty following a court-martial on July 22nd. While Cohen was on transfer via Navy MP escort, they must have experienced some sort of accident. The corpses were severely mauled, apparently torn apart by unidentified wild animals. The following day we returned to the location to recover the bodies, but they were nowhere to be found. Military authorities have requested that we hand over Cohen's body as proof of his death, but due to the circumstances described above, it will be a difficult task to recover the corpse. I am requesting that this case be temporarily closed until further notice. Raccoon City Police Department, STARS Alpha Team, Rebecca Chambers. This is actually the second EX file, and I think the last one, to actually foreshadow Resident Evil 0. Again, I think this was in development for the Nintendo 64 at the time, but it wouldn't come out until the GameCube era. This is some real foreshadowing. I love it. Well, you know what? There's only one more EX file to go. Let's find it. Alright, it is time to find the very last EX file. We are on Claire B, and Chief Irons just met his untimely demise, as we are in his creepy taxidermy dungeon. Speaking of which, on the bloody table is the EX file. Chris's report. Dear Chief, below is my account of what led up to the explosion of the mansion. Now this refers to the end of Resident Evil 1. On July 23rd, STARS Bravo team led by Captain Marini went to investigate the bizarre homicides that occurred in the Arclay Mountains. After contact with team's chopper was lost, STARS Alpha team, lead by Captain Wesker, it should be LED, went in. We found the remains of Bravo team's helicopter on the ground. After landing, we were immediately attacked by bloodthirsty dogs. We later discovered that these dogs were actually zombie dogs, as they did not even feel our gunfire. The dogs were actually zombie dogs. And then John was a zombie. After Joseph Frost was killed, we were forced to retreat to a nearby mansion. After further investigating the mansion, we learned that it was actually a secret laboratory of Umbrella Incorporated. All researchers were turned into zombies by some type of unknown virus. We also discovered that Umbrella was using that lab as a testing area for new bioorganic weapons. We found the dead bodies of some of the Bravo team members, including Enrico Marini. Well, I mean, you found Enrico when he was alive. Clearly he was shot while you were standing there. Kenneth Sullivan. Okay, you found him dead. Forrest Spare. He was killed by a crow or something. And Richard Aiken. Well, again, Richard Aiken you found alive. He was just dead the second time you saw him. We believe that those bioorganic weapons caused their deaths. You know the bioorganic weapons caused at least Kenneth and Richard. Forrest you can heavily assume. After that, we discovered that Captain Wesker was actually working with Umbrella, and that both Alpha and Bravo teams were being used as live test subjects for the bioorganic weapons. Wesker had betrayed us. We barely managed to survive that nightmare. However, since the mansion exploded, there is no evidence to support our claims of Umbrella's secret lab or the bioorganic weapons. The zombie phenomenon that has been occurring in the city is extremely similar to the zombies we saw at the mansion. We suspect that Umbrella is somehow linked to all this. In order to solve this mystery and put an end to the zombies that are roaming the city, I propose we launch a formal investigation into Umbrella. Thank you for your attention to this extremely important matter. Chris Redfield, STARS Alpha Team. You know what's interesting is, in either of Claire's scenarios, A or B, when you enter the STARS office and do whatever it is you're going to do, when you leave, the STARS office gets a fax. Upon picking it up, it's actually correspondence back to Chris regarding the investigation. That's where they start talking about how Chief Irons is not to be trusted, so Chris actually carried this out. That is probably the best tie-in to Resident Evil 1. That's the general plot. Here's how Resident Evil 1 ended, now I want to do something about it, leading to the events of, well, incidentally, the events of Resident Evil 2, and then Chris is going to go on and do more things later. So, those were the EX files. I hope that these were informative to you as well as entertaining. It certainly was fun grabbing all of these, because I was looking at these for the first time myself. Thank you for watching, and until next time, everyone.